Do you ever wake up and feel like something's off? Like you're stuck in the same loop every single day, trying so damn hard but nothing is changing. You get up, grind through the motions, check your phone, put on a face for the world, and deep down, you know you're not becoming who you're meant to be. That feeling. It's not anxiety. It's your inner warning system. It's your soul quietly screaming. You're neglecting the work that matters. See, most people walk around busy, but they're not building. They're occupied, but they're not evolving. They confuse movement with progress. And that's the trap. If you want to stop running in circles, if you want to rise above mediocrity, if you want to live a life where you don't just survive but dominate, then there are 10 things you must commit to working on every single day. And I mean every day. No days off. Because transformation doesn't happen when it's convenient. It happens when it's consistent. Start with your mindset. Before you even touch your phone in the morning, ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind? Are you feeding it fear, doubt, comparison, or discipline, focus, and grit? You're the gatekeeper. Every day, your mind will try to sabotage you with excuses. It will whisper, stay safe, stay small, stay the same. And you need to shut that voice down. You don't rise by accident. You rise by mental warfare. By taking command of your thoughts and bending them into your weapon. Most people don't realize the war that begins the second they open their eyes. Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind starts whispering, sometimes yelling, stories about what you can't do, what might go wrong, who's better than you, and why today will probably be just like yesterday. And that's the first lie. Because the truth is, today can be completely different. If you take control of your mind before it takes control of you. Your mindset isn't just some trendy term thrown around in self-help books. It's the control center of your life. If you don't train it, life will train it for you, and not in your favor. You need to wake up and actively choose what kind of mental environment you're going to live in. Will it be one filled with excuses, insecurity, and fear? Or one governed by discipline, power, and focus? That's not just motivational talk. That's life and death for your potential. Every thought you allow, every belief you accept, becomes the filter through which you see the world and yourself. You think you can't speak up in the meeting. You won't. You think you're not good enough to apply for that role. You'll never try. You believe your past defines your future. It will. The mind is a battlefield and the enemy is subtle. It doesn't scream. It suggests. It plants seeds. And if you don't consciously counter it, it wins without a fight. I'm telling you, you cannot afford to let your mindset run on autopilot. You have to build it like muscle. Rep by rep, thought by thought. That means shutting down the voice that says, what if I fail? And replacing it with, what if I rise? It means eliminating the language of limitation from your vocabulary. No more, I can't, I'm not ready, maybe later. Those words are chains. You want freedom. Then speak in terms of ownership. I will. I'm capable. I'm becoming. Most people are not broken. They're just programmed by fear, comparison, and a lifetime of low expectations. But you're not most people. Not if you're listening to this. You are responsible for the state of your mind, and you need to guard it like a fortress. Don't hand over your power to social media, to negative people, to the wounds of your past. This is the one battleground you must win every single day. Because once you own your mind, nothing can own you. You can be the smartest person in the room, the most talented, the most strategic. But if you can't control your emotions, you will destroy your own progress. I've seen it over and over. People with massive potential collapse under pressure, not because they lacked skill, but because they let their emotions lead the way. You lose your temper in one meeting, and the trust you spent years building is gone. You let jealousy creep in, and suddenly you're sabotaging your own relationships. You get hurt, and instead of healing, you shut down. That's not strength. That's surrendering to impulse. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear: your emotions are valid, but they're not always accurate. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you act on it. That's the difference between being reactive and being powerful. Weak people let their feelings drive the car. Strong people put emotions in the passenger seat and stay behind the wheel. I'm not saying suppress what you feel. I'm saying command it. Feel everything, but don't be ruled by any of it. Emotional intelligence isn't soft. It's tactical. It's what allows you to walk into chaos and remain centered, calm, calculating. It's what lets you walk away from insults without losing your cool because you know your value isn't up for negotiation. And make no mistake, this kind of control is not about pretending. It's not about faking peace. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to strike and when to stand still. You don't give people the power to provoke you. You don't let their chaos become your character. Because once someone can control how you feel, they control how you move. And that is a power no one should ever have over you. So when life throws you that curveball, and it will, you pause. You breathe. You ground yourself. Because the moment you let frustration or fear hijack your thinking, you've already lost. You want to win. Then you better stop giving temporary emotions permanent control. That's not being tough. That's being dangerous in the best way. You don't just show up composed. You show up unshakable. That's how leaders operate. That's how warriors walk. That's how you build a life that no storm can shatter. People think communication is just about talking. But it's power. It's presence. It's your ability to lead, to command, to influence every room you walk into. And the problem is most people speak just to respond, not to be understood. They speak to fill silence, not to make impact. They ramble, they hesitate, they dilute their message with fluff and insecurity. And then wonder why no one listens, no one respects them, no one follows their lead. You don't get to be taken seriously if you sound unsure of yourself. Confidence isn't just how you carry yourself. It's how you speak yourself into the world. Every single word that comes out of your mouth is a representation of what you believe about yourself. Are you speaking with clarity, or are you apologizing for taking up space? Are you making people lean in, or are you giving them permission to ignore you? Because communication isn't about talking more. It's about talking with intention. You want to get results in life. Then learn how to say what needs to be said, when it needs to be said, in a way that cuts through noise. Whether you're in a boardroom, a negotiation, a conflict, or standing in front of someone you love, your voice should carry weight. Your tone, your pace, your eye contact, all of it should say, I know who I am. I know what I'm about. And it's not just the words you say, it's the ones you don't. Silence can be a weapon. A pause can be more powerful than a paragraph. You don't need to over-explain, overshare, or overcompensate. Learn to speak in a way that makes people stop and listen. If you need to raise your voice to be heard, you've already lost control of the room. Real power is quiet. It's calm, it's direct, and it's felt. But here's the catch. Communication is a skill, and if you're not working on it daily, you're falling behind. Read. Listen, observe, practice. Learn how to articulate your thoughts under pressure. Learn how to listen, not just to respond, but to understand. Because if you can't communicate with clarity, you will be misunderstood. And if you are misunderstood, you will be misrepresented. You don't rise by hoping people get you. You rise by making damn sure they do. So speak like every word matters, because in this world they do. Discipline isn't about motivation. Motivation is a liar. It shows up when it feels like it, and disappears the moment things get uncomfortable. Discipline is the truth. Discipline is what stays when comfort walks out the door. You want to know what separates the high performers, the elite, the unbreakable, from the rest of the world. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's what they do daily, especially when they don't feel like doing it. The gym when they're tired. The reading when no one's watching. The early mornings. The boring reps. The uncomfortable conversations. The grind no one claps for. Every single habit you have is a vote for the person you are becoming. And the scary part is, most people aren't even aware of the habits they're building. They scroll for hours and call it relaxing. They snooze the alarm and call it self-care. They procrastinate and call it waiting for inspiration. You don't get to lie to yourself and then be shocked when your life doesn't change. You either build habits that align with your goals, or you build habits that destroy them. There is no middle ground, and let's be honest, discipline is not glamorous. It's not sexy. It's not shareable. It's waking up before the world does. It's choosing water over soda. It's showing up to your life even when you're emotionally drained. It's refusing to negotiate with your excuses. And that's the part nobody wants to talk about. Because consistency is hard. But let me tell you something, you will never respect yourself if you keep breaking promises to yourself. And that inner disrespect, it leaks. It shows up in how you speak, how you walk, how you handle failure. You want to transform, then build a structure. Your routines are not punishment, they're protection. From laziness, from self-sabotage, from distraction. When you don't have a plan, the world will give you one. And trust me, the world doesn't care about your greatness, but you should. So structure your mornings, your evenings, your meals, your mindset, your time like your life depends on it, because it does. And when the voice in your head says, just this once, skip it, you answer back, not today, I've got work to do. That's discipline. That's power. That's how legacies are built. One of the fastest ways to destroy your momentum is to keep the wrong people in your life. Energy is everything. You can be laser-focused, self-disciplined, on your path, and then you spend 1 hour with the wrong person, and suddenly you're doubting yourself, questioning your goals, playing small to make them feel comfortable. That's not kindness, that's sabotage. Most people don't outgrow their potential. They get dragged down by the people they refuse to let go of. Look around you. Who in your life pushes you to grow? Who challenges your thinking, holds you accountable, reminds you of your power? And now ask yourself, who drains you, distracts you, enables your excuses, and keeps you stuck in who you used to be? Because if you're the strongest one in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. Growth is uncomfortable, and the people around you should be making you more uncomfortable, not less. They should be forcing you to level up, not settle down. But that only happens when you stop surrounding yourself with people who are addicted to average. And don't fall for loyalty traps. Just because someone's been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they deserve a front row seat in your future. Time served doesn't equal value added. You're not obligated to keep small-minded, insecure, or toxic people in your world just because you've known them forever. This is not personal. It's directional. Your path matters more than their approval. And if someone truly respects you, they'll rise with you. They won't guilt you, mock you, or question your hunger. They'll fan your fire. And if they don't, you walk. You need to start curating your environment like your mission depends on it. Because it does. Every conversation you have either plants doubt or fuels belief. Every person you let close either protects your energy or poisons it. And every moment you spend in the wrong atmosphere is a moment stolen from your potential. This isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. You weren't born to fit in. You were built to stand out. So don't shrink to be digestible. Let the wrong people choke. If you don't protect your time, people will steal it like it's free. And the worst part, they won't even feel guilty about it, because you allowed it. Every single minute of your day is either moving you forward or dragging you off course. And most people don't even realize how much of their life they're handing away to distractions, obligations, and other people's priorities. You keep saying, I don't have time, but that's not true. What you really mean is, I'm not controlling it. Your calendar reflects your character. If your time is scattered, your life is scattered. If your schedule is filled with things that don't align with your mission, then you're not serious about that mission. You can't just hope you'll get things done. You have to design your day like it's a battlefield, because it is. Every notification, every request, every meaningless meeting or pointless scroll is a landmine. And every time you say yes to something that doesn't matter, you're saying no to something that does. People will test your boundaries. They'll call you selfish for saying no. They'll expect you to be available 24/7. They'll try to pull you into their drama, their chaos, their timeline. That's when you look them dead in the eye and say, my time is earned, not assumed. You don't owe anyone access to your energy. You don't owe constant availability. You owe yourself results, and that means you prioritize your purpose over their comfort. Start treating time like currency, because once it's gone, it's gone. You can't deposit it. You can't refund it. You can't get a do-over. So stop letting it bleed away through aimless conversations, endless scrolling, and people who add zero value to your life. Protect your mornings. Protect your focus. Protect your recovery. You weren't born to spend your life reacting to other people's schedules. You were born to build something, to become someone. But that only happens when you take ownership of your time like it's sacred. Because it is. You cannot talk about strength, discipline, or resilience if you're walking around in a body you constantly ignore. Your body is not separate from your success. It is your success. It's your foundation. You don't have to look like a bodybuilder, but you better treat your physical health like it matters. Because when your energy crashes, when your stamina fails, when your body breaks down from years of neglect, it's not just your health that suffers. It's your ambition, your leadership, your ability to show up. You can't execute at your highest level in a body that's running on fumes. Every day you fuel your body with garbage. Every time you skip the workout. Every excuse you make for not moving. You're sending a signal to your subconscious that says, my goals aren't that important. You want mental toughness. Start with physical discipline. Because nothing builds grit like pushing through the burn, lifting heavier than yesterday, showing up when it's the last thing you feel like doing. That pain you feel in the gym. That's your resilience being built, your self-respect being earned, your inner power being forged. And don't get it twisted, working on your body isn't vanity. It's strategy. A strong body supports a sharp mind. It's the armor you carry into every battle, the engine that drives your focus, the shield that protects your longevity. And when the pressure hits, and it will, it's not your willpower that gets you through, it's your preparation, your discipline, your routine, the work you've already done when no one was looking. No one's going to force you to take care of yourself. No one's going to drag you out of bed to train. That's your job. And if you keep putting it off, life will eventually put you in a position where you have to. That's the difference between being proactive and being forced. You weren't made to live soft. You were made to move with power. So train like your life depends on it, because it does. Fuel your body like it's carrying your legacy, because it is. And walk like someone who knows their strength isn't optional. It's earned, and it's essential. No matter how smart you are, how much talent you think you have, or how many degrees you've collected, if you're not sharpening your skills every single day, you're already falling behind. The world doesn't care about what you used to be good at. It cares about how sharp you are right now. Every day that you coast, every day that you lean on your past accomplishments instead of refining your edge, someone out there is getting better, hungrier, faster, and eventually they will outpace you, not because they were more talented, but because they stayed committed to mastery. The truth is, most people want results, but they don't want to be students. They want to be seen as experts, but they stop learning the moment they get a title. That's why they stay stuck. That's why they get passed up. You want to be elite. You want to be irreplaceable. Then your work can't just be good. It has to be exceptional. And exceptional comes from repetition, refinement, and relentless pursuit of growth. I don't care what industry you're in. You could be a lawyer, an athlete, an entrepreneur, a teacher. It doesn't matter. Your craft needs attention. Your skill set needs pressure. You have to stay uncomfortable, because growth doesn't happen in ease. It happens when you're on the edge of your ability, fumbling through the process, fighting through frustration, asking better questions, failing faster, and getting right back up sharper than before. That's what separates the amateurs from the professionals. The amateur waits to feel ready. The professional knows they'll never feel ready. But they show up anyway. And let's be real. Most people don't put in the reps because they're afraid of looking foolish. They want to be perfect on the first try. They don't want to mess up in public. They don't want to ask questions because it might make them look weak. But the truth is, you gain power when you choose to be a student. You earn respect by being willing to look inexperienced for the sake of getting better. Pride will keep you average. Humility will take you to mastery. Every great communicator practiced their voice when no one was listening. Every top performer trained their craft long after everyone else went home. You think excellence is glamorous. It's not. It's early mornings, late nights, countless revisions, awkward failures, and a standard that most people just aren't willing to hold. It's asking yourself every day, how can I be 1% better than I was yesterday? That mindset alone separates the people who talk about success from the ones who live it. And don't confuse being busy with getting better. Some people hustle all day but never improve. They repeat the same low-level behavior over and over and call it effort. That's not growth. That's stagnation disguised as work. Real growth is intentional. It's strategic. It's about doing the right reps, not just more reps. You don't get stronger by lifting the same weight forever. You grow by adding resistance. Same goes for your skills. If you're not challenging yourself, you're maintaining. And maintenance is just delayed decline. You want to be someone who dominates your space, then become obsessed with evolution. Become relentless about learning. Read every day. Listen to people smarter than you. Watch how the best move. Get feedback. Not just compliments, but real, raw feedback that stings. And don't run from it. Use it. Study your weaknesses like they're a blueprint to your next breakthrough. Because they are. There's no finish line in mastery. The second you think you've made it, you've already started slipping. And I get it. Learning is exhausting. Studying is inconvenient. Practicing feels tedious. But you know what's worse? Watching someone else live the life you could have had because they kept sharpening while you were coasting. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who's always learning. Because they're unpredictable. They're adaptable. They're never out of the game. That's the person you want to be. You don't get to choose how talented you are, but you absolutely get to choose how skilled you become. Talent is the spark. But skill, that's the fuel. And fuel only runs if you keep pouring it in. So build a system around your growth. Schedule learning like it's non-negotiable. Treat your training like it's sacred. If you're not actively improving, you're passively declining. Period. And you don't rise to the level of your potential. You fall to the level of your preparation. Sharpen yourself every day. Relentlessly, ruthlessly, quietly, without fanfare, without applause. Do it because excellence is your standard, not for show, but for self. And when the moment comes, when opportunity knocks, when pressure hits, when your name is called, you won't have to scramble. You won't have to fake it. You'll be ready, because while the world was sleeping, you were sharpening your sword. And that's what makes you dangerous. Most people spend their entire lives waiting. For a sign, for clarity, for someone to give them permission to move. They wander through their days numb, checking boxes, living on autopilot, and deep down they feel it. That ache, that restlessness, that quiet knowing that they were meant for more. And instead of confronting it, they bury it. They numb it with distractions. They call it normal. But that feeling, that burning in your gut, that's not confusion. That's your purpose trying to wake you up. Purpose isn't something that magically appears one day with a clear map and perfect timing. It's something you discover in motion. You find it when you do hard things, when you lean into discomfort, when you ask better questions about who you are and why you're here. Purpose isn't soft. It doesn't arrive gently. It shows up through fire, through the pain you've survived, the truth you've uncovered, the values you're willing to defend when everything's on the line. It's the reason behind your grind. It's what keeps you going long after the excitement fades, and all you're left with is discipline and resolve. But most people never uncover theirs because they're afraid of stillness. They avoid reflection. They drown out the silence with noise, with drama, with busywork. Because deep down they know the moment they stop, really stop, they'll have to confront what's missing. And that takes courage. It takes brutal honesty. It takes shutting off the outside world long enough to ask yourself the real questions. What do I stand for? What breaks my heart? What makes me furious? What could I do for hours and never get tired of? What would I die for? And what am I willing to live for? Purpose doesn't shout, it whispers. And it only speaks when you're willing to listen. You don't get to outsource this work. No one can hand it to you. You don't find it in a motivational video or a book or on someone's Instagram post. You find it by showing up every single day, doing the hard, unglamorous work that forces you to grow. You find it in the failures that teach you what matters, in the people you impact when you least expect it, in the moments you choose integrity over comfort, principle over popularity, mission over mood. And once you get a glimpse of it, once you even touch the edge of it, your life changes. You stop competing. You stop chasing empty applause. You stop letting the world define you. Because now you're driven by something deeper. Now your work has meaning. Now your actions have weight. Purpose becomes your compass. And when the world tries to distract you, manipulate you, shake you, you stay centered, you stay dangerous. Because you know why you're here. Every single day you must recommit to that reason. You must revisit it, feed it, protect it. Because the world will try to water it down, dilute it, replace it with comfort and noise. But you don't back down. You don't play small. You live on purpose. You lead with intention. And you fight like hell to make your life mean something, not just for you, but for every life you're meant to touch. That's what purpose is. It's not just a reason to wake up. It's a reason to rise. Character isn't what you post. It's not the image you project when everyone's watching. It's who you are when no one's there to clap, when no one's looking, when you're standing in the quiet moments and the only person you have to answer to is yourself. It's what you do when there's nothing to gain. That's character. It's not loud, it's not flashy, and it's not something you can fake for long. Eventually, your character exposes you, or it elevates you. You can have all the talent in the world. You can play the part, say the right words, build the image. But if your actions don't match your words, it all comes crashing down. Because character is about alignment. When your values, your choices, your behavior, and your beliefs line up, even under pressure, especially under pressure, that's when you become untouchable. That's when you build trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Because you know you won't fold. You know you won't betray your own standards just to be liked, just to fit in, just to win fast. That kind of internal integrity, it's rare, and it's powerful. And the real test doesn't come when things are easy. It comes when the stakes are high, when you're tired, when no one would blame you for cutting corners, when no one would notice if you told a half-truth, stayed silent, or took the shortcut. That's when character speaks loudest, through your actions, not your words. Do you stand up for what's right, even when it costs you? Do you hold the line, even when it's uncomfortable? Do you keep your word when it's inconvenient? Because your reputation might get you in the door, but your character is what keeps you in the room. We live in a world that celebrates charm over substance, fast results over earned respect, style over substance. But here's the truth, when pressure hits, charm cracks, image fades. What's left is who you really are. And if you've spent your life building an identity instead of a foundation, everything collapses the moment adversity shows up. But if you've built character, brick by brick, choice by choice, you'll withstand anything. You won't have to pretend. You won't have to perform. You'll stand rooted, calm, clear, because you know who you are. Character is also about how you treat people who can do nothing for you. It's how you show up for the people behind the scenes, the ones who don't have status, the ones who can't benefit you. Are you kind when no one's watching? Are you respectful when there's no audience? That's the real legacy. It's not what people say about you when you're trending. It's what they say when you're gone. So every day, you check yourself. Are your decisions aligned with your values, or just your ego? Are you acting from integrity or insecurity? Are you building a reputation or a foundation? Because the world is full of people who can play a role. But you were never meant to act. You were meant to lead. And leaders don't just talk about values, they live them, especially when it's hardest. That's character. And it's not optional, it's your anchor, your armor, and your legacy. So when you look at your life, your habits, your mindset, your relationships, your choices, you have to ask yourself one question: am I building or am I drifting? Because no one accidentally becomes powerful. No one casually develops unshakable character, sharp skills, relentless discipline, or unbreakable purpose. It takes work, daily work. Not when you feel like it, not when it's easy, but every single day, especially when it's not. That's the price. That's the difference between living a life you tolerate and living a life you own. These 10 things: your mind, your emotions, your voice, your habits, your circle, your time, your body, your skills, your purpose, your character. They are not optional. They are the pillars of power, and you don't get to borrow them. You have to earn them. You don't get to wish for greatness. You have to build it with the bricks of small, intentional actions, stacked daily, in silence, without applause. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you different. So if you're waiting for a moment to change everything, this is it. Right here, right now. Not next year, not Monday, not when you feel ready. You start today. You do the work. You commit to these 10 things like your future depends on it, because it does. And when the world starts to notice, when success begins to echo back, you'll know exactly why, because you built it from the inside out. Quietly, relentlessly, on purpose.